At Homestead Homies, we got the park in my neighborhood being rebuilt, which means a whole bunch of trash, wooden trash, being plucked out of the ground to make room for the new stuff. So I got the guys to give me 4 pieces of wood. We're gonna use this to build our planter in the forest. I'm using the work harder, not smarter method. Instead of driving a truck over here, I'm gonna carry it piece by piece until I get to the woods. Now, when it comes to deciding where I'm gonna plant this thing, it's a little bit early in the year for me to identify which areas are gonna get enough sunlight. So I'm gonna have to kind of guess based on memory from when I've been in the woods in the past. But with all these pieces, I might even be able, these are very large pieces, I might even be able to make 2 planters if I make them small enough. I can kind of hedge my bets by picking 2 locations at once. I also don't know what I'm gonna plant yet, but this is more about the experience, and I'm getting a decent workout here. This is pretty heavy. Entering the forest now, you can see that there's not really that much left of the forest portion of the homestead. We tried growing mushrooms on this tree. They never sprouted. This planter has nothing in it. This planter was destroyed by neighborhood kids. Let me just dump this wood. And this is the compost that animals, I think, keep getting into. So we're not really making much progress here. I think they're breaking through right here. This little gap here on the side is where they're getting in. So I gotta reinforce this somehow. And then we could have a little something going on here. I need to bring back the rest of the wood and then pick a spot. This seems obvious right here, but I think it gets too much shade once these leaves start coming in. Some more reflections while I carry the second piece. I'm thinking that the biggest threat to my garden, just like last year when we tried to set up a homestead, the biggest threat is the HOA. The government clamping down on us for growing crops where we're not allowed to. All right, biggest threat. But what can the HOA not enforce? They cannot override any kind of state law, right? So what plants are protected by state law? We've got plenty of plants in Virginia that are on the endangered species list, so it is illegal to rip them up. I don't know what the law is if you plant them yourself and then later want to rip them up. I don't know, but I bet you that the HOA cannot tell me to remove an endangered species of plants. So I think if I can find something that's worth cultivating, then maybe I can even sell the seeds or use some other way to, I don't want to say leech off the law, but benefit from these protective laws for these plants. I think there's a way to do it. I got the final piece here. It's the smallest, but I'm also much more exhausted now. So I'll dump this one off onto the pile. And there we go, 4 pieces of my future planter. So I've consulted ChatGPT on some of the things that I might be able to plant here, and it looks like most of them aren't actually gonna be able to produce any kind of fruit. It's just, you know, grasses and stuff that are protected by the law. So it's not exactly what I had in mind, but I think it could still be worth it if it lets me stick it to the HOA. So I'll have to balance out, what's my goal here? Do I want to just make the HOA feel awkward and cause some trouble for myself? Or do I want to figure out something that I can actually garden here and either eat or just, I don't know, sell some seeds maybe. But I got some work to do around here, and I'm not ready to give up on Homestead Homies yet. So although we are down, we are not out. We're gonna get back on our feet.